In the progression of contemplative training, a practitioner eventually reaches a threshold. They move from highly focused, effortful attention, narrowing the mind to a single point, into the open, fluid space of non-directive awareness. At this stage, the objective is no longer the active suppression of peripheral distractions. Instead, the mind shifts toward cultivating a continuous, metacognitive monitoring of its own internal state. The Burmese master Sayadaw U Tejaniya established a framework for this called cittānupassanā. His approach treats the specific object of meditation as secondary. The primary focus is the quality and attitude of the mind that is doing the observing. However, operating purely within this cognitive, low-effort space introduces specific failure modes that can stall progress. The most persistent risk is the entrenchment of a subtle, dualistic watcher. By constantly checking the mind's attitude, the practitioner may inadvertently sustain a sense of self, represented by the rat, that remains separate from the experience, categorizing it from a distance. This cognitive focus can also lead to somatic bypassing, where the practitioner ignores the physical reality of the body. Without a somatic anchor, the state of relaxation often degrades into energetic drift, characterized by a loss of clarity and subtle lethargy. Relying on cognitive framing alone is often insufficient to dismantle these habits. To prevent the ego from simply relocating into the observer's seat, the practice requires a more precise integration of physical and mental constraints. We can address these vulnerabilities by interfacing several distinct contemplative traditions. By mapping their specific mechanics, we can engineer a high-resilience architecture for maintaining open monitoring. In this architecture, Sayadaw U Tejaniya's right attitude serves as the base layer, providing the continuous monitoring required for daily life integration. To stabilize this base, we plug in specialized protocols, an epistemic layer to resolve the watcher, a ground layer to process sensory input, a somatic mechanism to clear physical tension, and an energetic anchor to maintain alertness. This is not about merging disparate beliefs, but about identifying the precise mechanical functions within different traditions that correspond to human neurobiology. By deconstructing the mechanics of effort and relaxation, we can build a contemplative system capable of addressing the mind's conditioning at multiple levels simultaneously. Tejaniya's practice relies on active inquiry, asking, "What do I know that is telling me I know this?" But this process can inadvertently sustain a separate knower. As long as the mind is asking the question, it maintains a division between the one who inquires and the process being studied. Jiddu Krishnamurti's choiceless awareness provides an epistemic resolution to this division. Krishnamurti observed that the mind's habit of naming and labeling sensations creates an artificial distance. When we label a feeling as anger, we create a me who owns the anger. By dropping the label, the division vanishes. The observer realizes they are the observed reaction. When the mind stops naming its experiences, the watching mind can no longer crystallize into a new ego structure. The internal judge is revealed to be nothing more than past conditioning reacting to the present. This realization is echoed in the Mahamudra tradition, which points to the ultimate knowing nature of the mind as something that cannot be separated from the experiences it knows. To optimize the system, the practitioner must eventually move beyond checking the mind's attitude and transition into simply being the awareness itself. As the observer collapses, the framework must determine how to process the constant stream of sensory appearances and thoughts. Two Tibetan approaches offer distinct solutions: the bypass mechanics of Dzogchen on the left and the integration mechanics of Mahamudra on the right. Dzogchen aims to bypass the ordinary mind entirely. It treats appearances as distractions to be seen through, allowing the practitioner to rest directly in rigpa, a primordial, uncontrived awareness that exists prior to thought. Mahamudra, however, views all thoughts and appearances as the natural expression of awareness. Rather than attempting to bypass them, the practitioner trains to see that even the most chaotic thoughts have the same taste as the empty mind. Because daily life involves constant sensory input and the need to navigate complex thoughts, we use the Mahamudra and Tejaniya approach of integration as our primary operational protocol. We reserve the Dzogchen protocol of resting in the empty ground for formal sessions, where physical stillness and a lack of external demand allow for total non-contrivance. By alternating between these two modes, the system remains resilient in activity while allowing for the deepest levels of realization during stillness. A purely cognitive framework often reaches its limit when psychological resistance manifests as deep physical contraction. During spikes of anxiety or trauma, the mind's ability to just observe is often overwhelmed by the body's autonomic fight-or-flight response. To resolve these somatic blockages, we integrate Stephen Proctor's MIDL, mindfulness and daily life, as a somatic release mechanism. Proctor's system targets the somatic nervous system directly. Mental aversion always creates physical tightness, particularly in the breath and facial muscles. The MIDL Gauss formula begins by grounding attention in the body to bypass conceptual loops. The practitioner then observes the specific physical location of the mental hindrance, the knot in the chest or the tension in the brow. The intervention is purely somatic, softening into the physical tightness on the out-breath and mentally smiling to neurologically reward the release. This trains the brain to find the state of letting go more attractive than the state of resistance. Cognitive awareness is fragile unless it is supported by a physical release valve capable of deconditioning the body's reflexive stress responses. The final operational risk is that the instruction to relax can easily lead the mind into a state of passive drift. Without a mechanism to maintain alertness, profound relaxation frequently devolves into heavy, unskillful lethargy. We solve this by adopting the postural rigor of Soto Zen's shikantaza, which functions as an energetic gyroscope for the entire system. Shikantaza utilizes a concept called mushotoku, or a non-gaining mind. There is no mental effort toward a future goal. Instead, the physical act of sitting in a precise, upright posture is the expression of awareness itself. This posture provides a specific biofeedback mechanism through the cosmic mudra. When held correctly, the thumbs provide immediate data on the mind's energetic state. If they droop and separate, the practitioner is falling into lethargy. If they press together too hard, it indicates excessive egoic striving. By maintaining this rigorous physical container, staying alert is offloaded to the body. This allows the mind to rest in total openness without losing clarity. Effortless awareness is not the absence of mechanics. It is the result of balancing multiple, precise internal constraints. At its core, the architecture runs Tejaniya's right attitude, integrating sensations via Mahamudra. This is stabilized by shikantaza's physical rigor. The MIDL mechanism deploys the Gauss formula for autonomic resistance. Finally, the observer dissolves via Krishnamurti and Dzogchen, collapsing into the primordial ground. The protocol is a complete cycle. Maintain right attitude throughout the day, adopt rigorous posture during formal sits, use somatic softening for internal knots, and let the observer structure collapse. By interfacing these distinct technologies, we create a contemplative engine capable of revealing the mind's ultimate unconditioned luminosity.